Greetings, 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 greetings. Good evening, good evening, good evening, everyone. Well, actually, I think it's past evening. It's actually night, I suppose. But anyway, I'm gonna say happy sun rest. Hope everybody's doing good. Hope everybody's having an amazing 24. And man, as always, it's a beautiful day. I just want to acknowledge the righteous great spirit. Acknowledge my righteous ancestors. Give thanks, honor. Always thankful for protection, guidance. But I just wanted to come on here and share a couple of things. Of course, you have heard me vent before, and this is not really a vent. This is pretty much, within the same lines of what I always talk about: unity, us coming together. And the subject matter of this video is pretty much about, the brother that was you know I, I'm not gonna say I'm a little choked up, but I'm just tired, man. Tired. We all should be tired. You know what I'm saying? Because Marcellus Williams, regardless of what was going on, right? There are even people of you know, different ethnic groups were making calls, to the governor's office, questioning. Even there were major questions with the the evidence. The man, has been claiming his evidence from day one, and you cannot just persecute somebody. You know what I'm saying? But not just the persecution, but not hang, but kill somebody. You know what I'm saying? Because you feel like you want to do it. You feel me? Evidence was being questioned, and to me, it's just insane. And why are we so passive as a people? If this were the 60s and the 70s, it would have been a problem. But for some reason, our people have been so dumbed down and so desensitized to the atrocities and the perils that the system put us through. It's disheartening. But the sad thing is, though, and here's the irony in this: when it's someone else that look like you, that you have a little riff with, a little beef with, you quick to pull the trigger on your own. No, I'm not here to advocate any kind of violence. You know what I'm saying? So I have to still be diplomatic in my delivery. But y'all, I know you guys are not stupid, so you could read between the lines. If this was the 60s and the 70s, stuff like that wouldn't be going on. You feel me? So all I'm just saying is, yeah, you could look it up, lineage. You know what I mean? Like, I wasn't following it too tough, but I was checking, you know what I'm saying? Like, from the moment I heard, that, they were building, you know, towards, executing the brother. You know what I mean? Then I started paying attention to it a little more. But what pretty much drew me closer to, the case is the just the outbursts, you know, the outbursts of people, Caucasian people mostly, you know, doing TikToks and, you know, calling the governor's office and saying, hey, stop this execution. The man is innocent. Even the family of the people, all right, that he allegedly did the wrong to, they did not want him to be executed. So you guys could look up the story, you know what I mean? Marcellus Williams, look it up and you could read about it. You know what I mean? So it's just sad and pathetic, you know what I'm saying? And mind boggling that in 2024, that our people are still getting executed without evidence. You see what I'm saying? That you know that's crazy. That's crazy. And I'm telling you, we could stop all of this because guess what? The people who are doing these things to us, these people are immigrants, and by international law and by our constitution, these people are not even supposed to be in power telling indigenous people what to do. But for some reason, we are not seeing this. For some reason, we refuse to link up and come together. For what reason we refuse to do what we got to do? I mean, do you know that we as a people, particularly the so-called black man, okay? And I got to say, the straight ones, do you know that we are, or they are, put it that way, because I'm going to say they because I don't categorize myself as a black man. You feel me? But the so-called black man in the United States corporation is at the lowest of the lowest of the low in society. He gets no respect. He gets no honor. He gets no appreciation. I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy. I mean, my brothers and my sisters, we got to do something. And I'm not talking about violence. You know, if violence comes, then it comes. We have every right to defend ourselves. That is the first law of nature is preservation. That's why you never see me on videos. You never see me on videos talking about we need to do this and go do this and do that, but talking from a violence perspective. No, you see what I'm saying? I'm not gonna do that. You did because I'm not stupid. I see people doing these videos and that's how they deliver their message with violence and what they're gonna do and whatnot. And all of a sudden you just don't hear from them. You just don't see them. And people don't realize the type of powers that we're going against, especially when you identify as being black and African American, because you are the property of the same people you're talking about you want to kill. And the funny thing is, you got it messed up. I want to use some colorful terms, but you know that's not my style. I don't use profanity. You know, I mean, oh, I rarely do. You know, if I do, it's once in a while. You know, because I know my mother might come across my videos, and you know, that's one thing. As a grown man, you know, my mother has never heard any profanity from me. I mean, it's not to really get off topic, but I've never heard my mother use profanity. I've never heard my father use profanity. You know what I'm saying? And I'm a grown man. But sometimes, you know, because I'm not frustrated, but because of the passion, you may want to use colorful words, but I'm going to refrain from that. But what I'm saying is this: there are so many steps that we could take, so many things that we could do. You see, the reason why we have such an opportune time and the reason why the timing of opportunity is impeccable, it's right, it's ripe for us, is because everything is televised. You see what I'm saying? Everything is televised. Everything could go viral instantly. So we could use that as an opportunity, use it to our advantage, because we are not living in an era when something happened, something evil, something nefarious happened to one of our people, then we get to hear about it a year later, 10 years later. You see what I'm saying? We get to hear it instantly. So what I'm saying is this: the pen is mightier than the sword. We know we cannot go up physically against the corporation and their guns and their tanks. We know that. Well, at least I know that. You see what I'm saying? But one thing I do know is this: there are moves that can be made. Let me explain something to you, which I've already done in many videos. We are a very resilient people. We are a resourceful people. We are an innovative people. You see what I'm saying? So we cannot lose. And like I've said before, there have been many battles and wars fought on our soil, on our indigenous soil, in our motherland. And yes, I did say our motherland because Africa is not our motherland. You feel me? The Great Spirit, the creator of the universe, our ancestors, made sure that the Americas was designated for us. And we were the ones that gave the world civilization. We are the grandfathers and grandmothers of civilization. You feel me? So with that being said, we had to be the first. We were the first, so we had to be the last. And it had to be a dissension. That's why we were called descendants of our ancestors. But you see, the prophecy, if I may, has been fulfilled. The journey, or the descending journey, let me just put that more in context. The descending journey is complete. The 7th round of degeneration has been accomplished. So right now we are actually on the ascending arc of ascension. And that is the reason why I don't call myself a descendant, because you see, words have power. So I am an ascendant of my ascendants. I'm an ascendant of my ancestors. Either way, the bottom line is we are on the trajectory of where we are going is actually on an elevation, a higher frequency for those who get it, for those who comprehend this. So we are no longer descendants unless you are descending. That's on you, but that's not me. I'm saying all that to say is this. Going back to the wars. Many wars have been fought on our soil. And here's the interesting thing about that. We have never lost a war. Okay? We have never lost a war. Not even a single war. Nowhere in the Americas. Go do the research. Nowhere in the Americas. I mean, of course, there has been casualties of war and people died and people got wounded, and that's just part of what it is. But we have never lost a war. And that is why treaties were signed. You feel me? And because we could not be defeated physically, we were defeated on paper. We were tricked on paper. So I'm saying there are certain things that we could do as a collective. Unification is the key. You see, we got too comfortable living in projects and neighborhoods without the concept of community. And I've already spoken about this a million times, so I'm not going to beat the dead horse. I'm not going to do that. But may I remind you what a community is, or what community is. Community is the ability to commune within a unit. That is the whole essence of community. We have to go back to the village concept. You see, I know what village is about because you see, I was born and grew up for the most part in the early part of my teenage years in a little island called Dominica. And even more so in Dominica, I grew up in a village called Gutter Village. Yes, gutter, as you are in the gutter, Gutter, Gutter Village. So I literally came from the gutter, but was not in the gutter, if that makes sense. Because my parents always make sure we had. We were not poor. My mother always had businesses. My mother was a cop for 30 years, and my father worked for an airline, for one of the airlines called Liat at that time. So I always got to travel for free at a very young age. So I was fortunate. But I'm saying something about Gutter Village. You see, we had a village. When my mother was a cop, when I was growing up, everybody knew who she was, and she knew who everybody's parents were. So if a child got into a situation where it was not that serious, even if it was serious, the first thing my mother or any other police officer would have to do is go to that parent and talk to that parent. Okay? You see, that was the code. That's what policing was about. Okay? But there was always something special about me. Even if I grew up in Gutter Village, the number of our house was 13. 13. And for those of you who don't know what 13 is or what 13 means, 13 is a God number. 13 is a God number. That's why there is no 13th floor in buildings. They don't want you to experience that high. You feel me? That's why they want you to be less. Because if you take the number 13 and you join the 1 and the 3, you get a B. They want you to be less than 13. Be less than God. That's why the allegorical Jesus and the allegorical Yeshua, 12 disciples, and he was the 13th, which completed the body. But let's go back to all of what's happening right now, because there's a reason why I didn't go left, but I went a little right. Okay, just to give you some background on community and village. If at any time, okay, my mother or my father or the neighbor, if they didn't have a pound of sugar, we could call the neighbor, hey neighbor, let me get a pound of sugar until next week Friday. And guess what? We had sugar. Okay? If somebody wanted something done, fix a car, whatever, okay, I'll fix your car. All right? On Friday, when the butcher come, I'll give you 2 pounds of meat. Because you see, we used the barter system where money wasn't so much of a significant. It wasn't a stressful thing. And even if in today's day and age, they put us in a situation where we have to have money and need money, we could still work together as a community. All right? When I was growing up and I was in high school, there was another part of another community called Fonkole. Now, I went to a junior high school called Goodwill High School. And we used to have like rival beefs with certain people. Okay, so yes, we still had it in the Highlands. It wasn't major crazy, right? But there were certain beefs. And when we got into certain beefs in, with that particular village in Foncole, now mind you, my mother was still a police officer. And there was this one guy. I mean, it seems like I'm going all over the place, but there's a reason for that. It's going to all make sense. There was this one particular guy, right? He had locks. I mean, I'm talking about locks down to past his lower back. You know what I mean? All the way down. And because my mother was a police officer, she didn't like locks, and she didn't like marijuana. She didn't like weed at all. Because I mean, it's like police and Rasta man. You know what I mean? She didn't even like Bob Marley. You know what I'm saying? So that's how serious she was with her job. But that one guy, I'm not gonna call his name. That one guy, even if my mother would arrest him on a few different occasions for smoking weed, let me tell you something. Anytime I got into a beef, that was the first dude that came to my defense. The first dude. Because regardless of what the situation was, they never allowed the children to be a part of grown folks' business. You see what I'm saying? That's called community. That's called the village. And we have to go back to that. So let's go back to Brother Marcellus. Why is it in 2024 our brothers could get executed and we are so passive about it? What has happened to us? My brothers and sisters, we could get back on top. And you know what? I was thinking the other day, the reason why, things are not happening as fast as we wanted to, which I've always said, is because everything happens in its own time. There's a season for everything. There's a reason for everything. And the majority of our people are not ready for that type of responsibility. Now hear me out. You see, with great power comes great responsibility. The majority of our people aren't ready to be in the position where the world depends on us once more. You see, we have always been the beacon of the world. This is the land of milk and honey. This is the land that the Milky Way, was giving milk to, if I may put it this way, right? This is the land where when Europe, okay, was going under, we built Europe back with our resources. All right, we gave the world, and the world is still taken from us. At one point, when are we going to say, hey, listen, you know what, man? What about self-preservation? It's time for us to take care of us. It's time for us to do us. You see, society have always made us feel guilty when we do things exclusively amongst ourselves because everybody want to be a part of what we are doing. I'm telling you, it happens all over the Americas. Okay? But we should learn to have certain things just for us. All right? Just for us. And that's no hate on any other ethnic group, but we have to learn to build ourselves first. We have to learn to repair ourselves first. We have to learn to love ourselves first. I'm just talking about, like, even if the love is free. Love is free. So it doesn't necessarily have to be financial. It doesn't necessarily have to be materialistic. All I'm just saying is, let us learn to love us, man. Let us learn to stand up for each other. That's free. Okay? It doesn't cost a dime to love your brother or your sister. regardless of how they feel about you. Show them love. Well, unless somebody put their hands on you, then that's a different story. You got to defend yourself. You feel me? But let people talk. People are going to talk anyway. You do good, people are going to talk. You do bad, people are going to talk. Let them talk. But all I'm just saying is, man, let's love each other, man. Let's shower each other with love. It's free. We don't have to be so aggressive with each other. Once we start doing that, you'll realize that the vibration and the frequencies are going to change. But there are things we could do politically. I'm telling you, I know how to do it. I know what to do. You dig? Listen, if we could just get 1,000 of us together, I'm telling you, like, I know what to do. And it has nothing to do with violence. Everything is on paper. Everything is political. But here's the difference. We make it international. That's how we win. We make it international. It cannot be domestic. How are you going to go to the people that's prosecuting you for redress? You're not going to get that. It's like a slave master going to the slave master. It's like a slave going to the slave master talking about, well, massa, you got to do me right. Massa, can I get reparations? Massa, can you pay me? You pay every other slave, every other ethnic group that was enslaved. Why you can't pay me? Mm. Everybody else got redress. The Asians got redress. The Jews got redress. The Italians got redress. I mean, literally every ethnic group has gotten redress for the atrocities of enslavement. And I have to make that very clear. When I say enslavement, I'm talking about prisoners of war in our own land because we did not come from Africa as slaves. Okay, we became prisoners of war. Many of you don't realize, okay, the importation of our ancestors within the realm of the Americas from one country to the next, even right here in the United States. When people were coming from, let's just say, Georgia to Virginia, that was considered a country. Okay? Because each state was a country. It is still a country. That's why every state has its constitution, and that's why every state has a governor. They are still independent countries. They just came together. Okay? So Florida was a country. California was a country or an island. Okay? They were all islands. We are all islanders. So all I'm just saying is this. We have to learn to strategize. We don't always have to come on the internet and be aggressive because let me tell you something, man. There are people watching and you're just going to get a knock on your door and all of a sudden people will not hear from you or see you. It is crazy like that out there. All right. So that's why I say certain things and I speak, in codes for the most part. There's nothing wrong in talking. All right. But we cannot do what we are doing as so-called Black people or African Americans because, like I've told you before, that is the property of the United States. All right. That is the color of law. Those people are dead in law. So it will not draw the attention of the international platform. Okay, it will not. It will not. But we have so we all, let me put it that way, we have such a strong footing or ground to stand on if we just kind of tweak our state of mind and realize that, we have more of a path that could bring us to victory than we don't. Okay? Everything is planning, everything is strategizing, everything is, once you plan, you work the plan and you execute the plan. And it can be done. And like I said, I know how to do it. It's going to take some finessing. Okay? The thousand of us that stand up. Okay? Or you see what I'm saying? It could be 1,000. It could be 2,000. It don't matter. The point is, it has to be enough of us, all right, to make some noise politically. And I'm not talking about, going and begging for anything. No, I'm not talking about that. But there are certain things that we could do. And I promise you, okay, we will start seeing some things happen. And here's one thing about our people. All right. I'll tell you one thing about our people is this. Our people, they are innovators. All right. Trust me, but we are innovators. I'm going to tell you that much. However, our people are also a, how would I put it? I don't want to use, too many crazy words, but the best way I could put it is monkey see, monkey do. A lot of our people are like that. Okay, not that I'm insinuating our people are monkeys, all right? But that's how we are sometimes. So I'm going to say we, just to include myself in that, because people, right? They take little song bites and then all you hear is, well, Chief was calling us monkeys. You see what I'm saying? And not put the whole video out there. And it's a damn shame that I had to actually expound on that just to avoid that situation. You feel me? But anyway, because we are indigenous, and like I said before, we are original indigenous people, then even if it's 500 or 1,000 of us within unity, okay, we make certain moves, we implement certain things, and our people see a slight inclination of it working, I'm telling you, it's over. It's over because we are at the cusp of the end of the descension and the beginning of the ascension. And all they need is just that one tick, that one spark, that one match, that one, just a little beacon of light. Okay? That's all they need. And just see how things are going to change so rapidly because they know it's working. You see, our people are looking for answers, things that work. And yes, don't get me wrong, our people have been burnt, our people have been hurt, our people have been abused, our people have been taken advantage of. So people are reluctant, people are skeptical. I get all of this. But we cannot allow skepticism. We cannot allow those things to prevent us from moving forward. We have to move forward because even the closest people around you, they are the ones that's going to deceive you. They are the ones that's going to persecute you. Man, listen, we have seen that movie played over and over and over and over again. Huh? Supreme Health and Wealth said it best. All skin folk ain't kinfolk. You know what I mean? And I've spoken about the Black Caucus before. Why isn't the Black Caucus doing everything? And if you go back, man, I've done so many videos. If you could go back through my archives, you'll realize it's been years I've been talking about this. Okay? There are a lot of people that call themselves black. They look like us, but they're not us. And I'll tell you why. Because they are the remnants of the black nobility that came here in 1492 and fought our ancestors. Okay? They were the ones who set up the 13 colonies. And even after we helped them with the Constitution from the 13 colonies, all right, they turned against us. Hmm? They turned against us. You see? So there are a lot of people that look like us. All right? They are also gatekeepers. They are also gatekeepers. And what's going to happen is this. You see, a lot of Caucasian people are going to start talking. All right? And here's the difference between Caucasian people and the state of mind that our people are in right now. Okay? We have been deprived, of the American dream for so many years, right? That we don't feel a need to fight for it. But the majority of the Caucasian people or so-called white people, and I'm saying so-called because they're not white, and I say so-called because we're not black. The majority of so-called white people, a lot of them, not all, right? But a lot of them got used of being so comfortable of living the American dream. And now it's starting to affect everybody because it took them a while to realize it has nothing to do with skin. Okay? They thought all along it was their skin that was helping them get by. Okay? And we thought it was our skin that was preventing us from getting by, not realizing that a trick was played on both people. In fact, on everybody. So they are the ones that's going to start this revolution first. Okay? Right now, we are going through an involution because our battles are within. And there's nothing wrong with that. We just need to not direct it at our own selves and our people, especially the ones that are being righteous. You feel me? So all I'm just saying is this. This is what's going to happen. Just like in the late 50s and the 60s, most people don't know or realize that the civil rights did not start with us. We had nothing to do with the civil rights. The civil rights started with Caucasian people, but we took it up because that's what we always do. And then it became something about us. It was so-called white people fighting to be white. All right? We were always looked upon as an independent people. Okay? As a distinct people. But it was the so-called Caucasian or white people that started the civil rights movement for themselves, particularly Caucasian women. And then our women start joining in. And then once our women start joining in, of course, our brothers started joining in. And the whole dynamic of the civil rights movement literally changed. So that's what's going to happen again. You see, there's nothing new under the sun, and history always repeats itself. So you're going to see more Caucasian people getting up and talking against the system. All right? But with us, we don't need to repeat the mistakes that a lot of our ancestors made in the 60s. Make it be our problem. And I'm not saying we shouldn't care about others. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not insinuating that. All I'm just saying is our journey and our purpose is a little bit different. Okay? It's a little bit different because we are the organic people of the land. We are the original people of the land. So we have to step up on a certain level to create order. This land will never go back to being order if we don't step up and put ourselves in order. And that's why our ancestors are not giving us. Okay? That's why I'm going to repeat that. That's why our ancestors are not giving us that loophole. All right? That broad path to get back on top because they know we are going to abuse it. So it has to start as a grassroots movement. Small, the narrow path. Because remember, the broad path leads to destruction. So by the time we start small, narrow, we walk through the door and we widen the door, we widen the path, then more of our people would have been in a position where they are ready to fall into play. You feel me? And that's what has to happen. And that's what is going to happen. It's not going to be a mass awakening like we think it's going to be. No. A chosen few, the ones that are called, okay? And even more so, even some are called, but they are not chosen. So even the ones that are called, some of the people that are called, they're going to fall on the wayside. But the chosen will never fall because the chosen know that we have a purpose. And when you find your purpose, you will never deter from your purpose because why? You cannot sleep at night. You can't lay your head down. Sometimes you go an entire day, 2 days without even thinking about eating because you can't rest. Your mind is always racing. What can I do to make my people feel better? What can I do to get us back? Like I'm telling you, you have no idea the torment, the torture the chosen people go through. Hmm. Not one day has gone by. All right? Not one day has gone by that I haven't sat around and asked our righteous ancestors, how? Please show me how. And they're giving me the answers. But like I said, I can't do it alone. I had to take a break. I had to take a hiatus. Because a lot of times, right, when you are vibrating on a certain frequency, even you could become detrimental to your own being because you could go in overload and you could drive yourself crazy. So you have to know when to listen to that voice and not just listen, but be obedient to that voice. When it tells you, hey, chief, it's time to take a break, slow down or else. And I'm very obedient because I know the voice of my ancestors. I know the voice of the Most Highs. Yes, I said the Most Highs. There's not only one Most High. There are Most Highs. Hence, you have the word Elohim. Elohim means God's plural. Let us. But anyway, that's a whole different story. The point I'm making is this. We have a path. And yes, it's a narrow path. And I'm glad it's a narrow path. All right? But we have an opportunity to do certain things that's going to change things for us. And the beauty about it is, no matter what the so-called powers there be try to do, they will not be so amped to do certain things that they normally do to people, all right, that are going to do what we will be doing. Because, like I said, we live in a different day and time. And because of the approach that we are going to take, because of the strategy that we are going to take, we are going to make it very hard, very, very, very hard. Now, I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's going to be very, very hard for them to do the things they do to people like us that step up. Because you see, you have to be as wise as a serpent, but calm as a dove. That's why you don't see me on the internet going off and I want to do this and we should do that and let's go. I ain't doing that. I'm a diplomat. Okay? I'm a diplomat. So I do things a little bit differently. But one thing I got to tell you is I know how to use the pen and the pad very well. Okay? Like I have everything in place. I've put some documents together and I wrote a document. And I got to tell you, man, listen, I had never heard of that document in my life. Never. But I'm asking my ancestors for direction and direction and direction. And they are leading me. I'm talking about like, I'm on my computer literally for almost 18, 20 hours putting in the work. I'm not eating anything. I'm working. And they're just giving me the answers, giving me the answers. It was coming so easy writing these documents. And I'm talking about lawful and legal documents. And I'm just like, I was amazed that when you are in your zone, all right, when you are obedient and you know the voice that's going to lead you in the right path, the journey becomes a little easier, just a little easier, a little less stressful because you know that everything is always going to be okay. All right. So I know the title of the video was about, Brother Marcellus, and it still is. Because even if I spoke, about a lot of different things, it brings me back to his situation. They're going to continue. And when I say they, the system is going to continue to persecute us if we don't make a change. The system is going to continue to come take your children if we don't make a change, because you are the property of the corporation. All right. And they are violating every, whether I say law, article, okay, or of international law. Okay. They are violating international law and think that nobody could touch them. Okay, let me tell you something. The system can be touched. And I'm not talking about violence. All right? And I'll reiterate. If we have to defend ourselves, then we will. Because one of the first laws of the universe is self-preservation. So there's nothing wrong in defending ourselves. But the system can be, we could put a glitch in the matrix out here in the United States. Because we are being abused. This is genocide. Our people go into jail, our children go into jail before they reach the age of 12 and 13. They want them to have a criminal record, because a criminal record is a license to enslave people. The schools are set up like jails, the long hallways. You got to be there at a certain time. You get to tell you when to eat, when to take a break, detention, when not to talk, when not to talk. It is jail. They're preparing you mentally for jail. Okay? It's systematic. So when our young men and young women go to jail, they feel comfortable. So now going to jail becomes a badge of honor. Like going to school and getting a degree becomes a badge of honor. It's the yin and the yang. People celebrate good, people celebrate evil. We got to get this. Okay? We got to get this. Let us stop going to these people's jails. They're getting paid. Do you know that every single day the federal government pays the jail for each cell every day? Because there are investors who invest in those jails. Because everything is already paid for. Everything is already paid for. Everything is already paid for. It's paid. But we just don't know that. Every case is already paid for. Every case is criminal. It's all about taxes. Okay? If you do not pay those taxes, all right, they will get you. And I'm not talking about IRS tax, and I'm talking about jail tax. It's all about taxes because why? The courts are a business. The court is a bank. Why do you think they don't teach our people banking? Why do you think they don't teach our people civil law? They don't teach none of those things because they don't want you to learn the system. Why do you think they don't teach you how to be entrepreneurs? They want to teach you the story of Job so you could have a job, which is J-O-B, the same thing as a job. Because job, Job, it represents persecution, hardship, until you prove that you are loyal, until you prove that you are worthy after being abused and taken advantage of, underpaid, long hours. And after you are good, you're loyal, you're obedient. When it's all said and done, okay, you're 65, 70, they tell you get it all back with your pension and your social security number. No, so and your social security. That is them acting as God, giving you everything back. My brothers and sisters, it's the same parallel. Because it was all set up by governments. Everything that you see, people talking earlier today. I told my mom that what you call it, Amazon is laying off people left and right, and people are crying, they're losing their jobs and all that because they're being replaced by these little machines, robots. And the first thing she said, "Oh well, the Bible said it, it's prophecy." I just have to leave it alone because they don't understand that it's the same people that's in power. They were the ones who give you that book. They put everything in the book. So they know exactly what to do to make it a reality and make you think it's prophecy coming from a sky daddy. But I'm not going to go too deep into that. I'm going to leave that alone. All right. But I'm just showing you how brainwashed people are. Are we going to wait until there are no more jobs because machines has taken over? Are we going to wait until inflation is so high that you can't afford to even buy a bottle of water? Hmm? Are we going to wait until, with the chemtrails, who knows what else they're going to put in there? And then people going to stop dropping like flies? Are we going to wait until they decide to create another pandemic and tell you, well, this time it's mandated that you take this shot? Okay? These foreigners are not supposed to be governing original indigenous people, period. Okay? They are supposed to be dealing with us from a government to government basis. And everything that they're implementing, all right, we were supposed to be at the table, or we are supposed to be at the table regulating. Now, you can't do that. And to some people, that may be a little bit far-fetched. You see, I've already seen it because I know what path to walk. I know exactly the approach to take. So I've seen it in my head as a reality. To some people, it's almost impossible. They think, well, they'd have to, have an army of 12 million to go against the corporation. Now, you don't need that. This is all about contracts. That's all it is. I've proven to you that the United States is a corporation. So it's all about contracts. Okay. And the contracts that we're dealing with right now, they're, cohesion contracts. It's one-sided. All right. They're not bilateral contracts where it benefits both sides. No. The individuals that's creating the contracts, is benefiting them the most. So we are at a disadvantage. So it is time to step up, okay, to make the playing field a little more balanced. We need to start creating some contracts of our own. And we have every right to do so as indigenous people and original indigenous people at that. Okay? So we could protect our people when they have situations like, our brother who just got executed. Even as soon as we hear something about that, then we will be in position to step up and say, hey, let us have another investigation, or this is not going to happen because this brother is not in your jurisdiction. He's an indigenous man. Okay. Now, some people may think that, well, Chief, it's easier said than done. No, it's not. It's not. It's only easier said than done to those who don't want to do. But when you're willing to do, anything is easy. As a matter of fact, it's even easier to do than say, because most times you don't have to talk, but just do. When the ACS people or the CPS people want to come take your children because they feel they could just do that, then they will not be able to do that because we'll have certain things in place. We can't do this if we want to. My question is, what's stopping us? Is it fear? Fear of ourselves? Fear of the system? I don't know. But there's no need for us to be afraid. Always remember this. We are not the flesh, and we're just having an experience. The flesh got to go back to Mother Earth anyway. But the I am in you is eternal. So why be afraid? Why be afraid? Because you're too connected to your flesh. That's the problem. Because you think you are the flesh. Now, I'm not here to tell you abuse your flesh. I'm not saying that. But you are not the flesh. The flesh is just the host. The flesh is just the kingdom. So I'm always reaching out. And I'll continue to reach out to let my people know that I love them. I love you. And that's why I do what I do. If I didn't, I wouldn't be doing it because it's not an easy thing to do. It's a challenge every single day. It's very, very, very challenging. And there are a few of us that's on the same page. And I hear them cry all the time. It may not be literal all of the time, but when I say cry, the venting, because they're just so frustrated with the people around them. But Chief, they're not getting it. It's just because they're not ready to get it. But for those of us who have already gotten it, what's preventing us from coming together as a collective? Why don't we be the example? Why don't we lead the way? Why don't we come together? Why don't we make the moves? If we know that the so-called powers there be, they are playing chess while the multitude, the status quo is playing, checkers. Why don't we play chess? Because we know that we are on a different level. Let's play the game. Isn't that what Monopoly is all about? They taught you Monopoly from a very young age. That is the game of life. But the Monopoly days are over. It's over. Because, like I told y'all before, we are stepping into the golden age. And that's why everything is coming to light. That's why there has to be a purge. That's why things have to be cleaned up. So, everybody who's doing filth, everybody who's doing grimy things, everybody who's unrighteous, you are going to be exposed. And if the system is not going to take you out, nature is going to take you out. But you can't escape it. That's why I'm always pleading and begging you to just get yourself right. Man, this is so serious. I don't even lie. Because I want to continue to walk as righteous, as righteous, as righteous, as righteous. So every single day, I'm asking my ancestors to teach me how to walk in perfection. Because this is not a game. Because I know I'm not the flesh. And I know I'm in control. Because I have the choice to choose. Do I feed the unrighteous entity in me? Or do I feed the righteous entity in me? I choose to continuously feed the righteous entity. All right. So, moral of the story is this: what happened to our brother with that execution? It got to stop. It got to stop. Our children going to jail? It got to stop. It got to stop. Us killing each other? It got to stop. It got to stop. Us disrespecting each other? It got to stop. Us disrespecting our women? It got to stop. But my sisters, you have to stop disrespecting yourself. Every video, every TikTok, every Facebook storyline cannot be about you bending over, shaking your ass on the internet. It can't be about that. You got to stop it. It can't be about that. We could be a little more productive. All right. So I'm going to conclude this video. It's a little over an hour. I know I was all over the place, but I hope, you guys got a little bit of something from this. All right. Because the reason why we suffer is because we allow it to happen. When you go look at the etymology of the word suffer, it means to allow to happen. Okay. So we are suffering because we allow it to. If we wanted to stop, it will stop. People could only do to you what you allow them to do to you. You see what I'm saying? There's no need to be afraid. That's why they are pushing fear, fear, fear. Okay? There's so much that we could do when we do what we need to do. It's not even funny. I'm going to repeat that. There is so much that we can do when we do what we need to do. I'm going to say it one more time. There is so much that we can do when we do what we need to do. The question is, do you know what we need to do? I'm telling you, I could see it. Tunnel vision. Let's do this. All right, let's do this. I just want to prove everybody wrong. And what I mean by that is, I want to prove y'all wrong by showing y'all that we could do things and make it work. Because a lot of people don't have confidence in a lot of us that are pushing to make things better for us. A lot of people don't have confidence in us. So I want to prove y'all wrong. Because I know there are certain things that we could do that's going to start shaping up things for our people in a for the better. So that we won't be always in a position where we are being abused. Okay? We got to stop that. All right? So y'all enjoy the rest of your 24. I'm always leaving my email. You know what I mean? Those who want to reach out, reach out. Okay? But I'm continuously extending my hands, asking people to walk with me. All right? And I'm going to continue to do so. But before I go, I just want to say that times are going to get harder. And that's okay. That's all right. The reason why I say it's okay is because a lot of times in situations when our back is against the wall, that's when and where we find our strength. So maybe that's what the majority of us are waiting for, until our backs are against the wall, where our necks are on the ground, which we have seen it happen a few times. But it seems like it has to get worse for our people before it gets better. When I'm saying we don't have to wait for that. But if that's what it has to be, then it is what it is. But for those of us that's in the position that I'm in, and what I mean by that is you're ready to make things better for us. All right. And every day, that's what's on your mind. Just be easy. Don't lose your mind. Don't lose your mind. Stay focused. Stay vigilant. Just stay ready. That's all I could tell you. All right. And stay strong, because we are the ones that's going to change things. We are the ones that are going to be used in such a huge way. So just stay ready. All right. Y'all take care of yourselves. One love.